Another thing that is kind of unique, I think, to the way that you think and makes a lot of sense to me is for you when you're acquiring a new asset, the terms you say are as important as the purchase price. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Sure. Purchase price is always important. Everyone wants to sell their property for top dollar or their company for top dollar, but the terms are equally, as if not more important in some cases. For example, I can pay you $1 billion for your company if I can pay you over 1 billion years. So whether that involves some creative seller financing or maybe another means, terms are very important.
Aside from seller financing, are there any other terms or a type of structure that you may try to play with in order to win a deal or win a deal on your terms?
Sometimes we can get creative with, because we own the majority of our holdings, we can forego commissions. We could put commissions back into the deal really work hard to keep our operating costs low, I think is a big part of it.
That makes a lot of sense. Would the retail center that we met at, Three Flags in St. Charles, which I think was a deal you bought around 2014-ish, is that right?
Yeah, maybe 2014, 2016, somewhere in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So would that deal be an example of where you got a little creative on the acquisition, or can you kind of walk us through that deal? Because I think it was, number one, a phenomenal piece of real estate, but number two, the story behind what you did to add value, I think was incredible as well.
Yeah, so I love talking about this building because it's really a great case study for a number of different reasons. So call it the Three Flags building. It was a 60,000 square foot office retail center, 3 stories, first floor retail, floors 2 and 3 office. And it was owned by a family. Father had developed, was one of the pioneer developers in the city of St. Charles, right where you cross the river on Highway 70. And so the 4 kids owned it, and father was still around at that point in time. But 4 kids owned it. 3 were out of town and kind of saw it on their K-1 as a liability. And then they had 1 local brother who kind of operated the building. And we were able to purchase it off market at a very good price. We were able to pay, the family a good price based on what it was, but we knew where we could take it. And it was kind of your classic mismanaged office retail building. The signage was dated, communication was poor. I think maybe it was probably 80% occupied, maybe low 80s occupancy-wise when we acquired it. But we went in, we put in a lot of energy improvements as far as new HVAC units that are more efficient, insulation. We rebranded the building. We built an electronic message center that we sold advertising on and just used it as a means to advertise the building. And just kind of breathed some new life into it and communicated and really tried to optimize every facet of it and take care of the tenants. So we owned the building for 3 years and ended up selling it to a group that had some hot 1031 exchange money and paid quite a bit of money for the building. And everything that we do, Raj, we do it for the long term. So every building asset we buy, we plan on holding it for at least 10 years. But there's an exception to every rule, as you know. And so we made a decision to sell it after owning it for about 3 years or so.
There's a couple of things here I'd really like to expand on. So one, you mentioned off-market. Can you share how that deal came across your desk, or maybe if you can't share details, just high level?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, it's another thing I love about real estate because, we have hundreds of tenants. So we get to see, hundreds of different types of businesses and ownership and, who does it right, who doesn't do it right. And you learn about so many different types of businesses that you normally wouldn't be able to. So the way the Three Flags deal happened was a friend of mine who's a broker. He came to me one day. He said, "John, I have an idea. It's a little bit crazy, some family dynamics, but I want to at least put it in front of you." And, it's not too dissimilar from how most of our acquisitions happen. Usually they're off-market deals, typically, when they're listed. Broker's objective is to drive the price up as high as you can. There's a lot of competition, so we very rarely will we purchase a property that's listed, mainly because we like value add. We like to go in and we like to add value. We typically don't buy a building that is, turnkey, ready to go, because we don't see the returns there. So it's just kind of typical off-market, crazy idea kind of way it happened.
So primarily the broker relationship, right?
Yes.
That brought the deal to you. When you mentioned the communication with the previous ownership and the existing tenants, I'm assuming you were alluding to kind of like poor customer service. Is that accurate to say?
Yeah, that's accurate. It's funny, and I'm sure you see this in your business too, Raj. You got to answer your phone. Got to answer your phone. You've got to respond to emails quickly. And it seems so simple, yet it's very hard for some people to do. And that's very important to us. And I think, as simple as it sounds, that was one of the reasons why we were able to do so well with it, just because of the communication. And that shows that, hey, the ownership cares. We did have an on-site manager who was phenomenal, and she's actually still with the company. She runs our property management department right now. When we sold that building, that was the number one requirement, is that she comes with us. She's not staying.